Hello and welcome back to the Punchers Chance podcast, and welcome to the 2026 preview. We're going to have a look at everything coming up next year, the fights we're looking forward to, who we think is going to have the best year, who's going to pick up a world title for the first time, all that good stuff. If you haven't already, check out our 2025 review in our last episode. It was really good, I thought. I enjoyed it. So if you guys would like to know worst take of the year, best fighter, best knockout, etc., check out that one. Straight into this one. We're going to start off with a big one in this episode. Our must-see fight of 2026. The one fight we have to see. We will not be happy if we get to 2027 and we haven't seen this fight. We're not going like the same as last episode where we have to give one nomination. We're just going to say our own personal opinion. So for this one, I'm going to kick it off again. And I've gone for Dmitry Bivol versus David Benavidez at light heavyweight. I think Bivol better be a great fight, but I think in my opinion, I know how that ends. I think I know that Bivol wins that one again. Benavidez is a tricky guy. The volume of the punches, it would be interesting style matchup. I think we're going to see Benavidez Zurdo. If he gets through that one, I would love a Bivol fight. Or even if he doesn't get through that one, I think go back down and fight. And also we'd get another shot at an undisputed champion in the weight division with Benavidez being the WBC champion. So I think that's a good way to start. And I feel like interesting fight.
I feel like Benavidez has had a quite a decent 2025, didn't he? So
yeah.
Hopefully a big. My one though, heavyweight division, straight up there. Big weight divisions already. We've gone with Moses Atama, Agit Kabayel. I want to see in 2026. I feel like both of them are fighting early this year. Agit Kabayel's fighting next weekend in Germany. Moses Atama is out in Manchester at the end of this month. I feel like there could be something in the works there that these two could be meeting in the mid to late 2026. And I feel like that's a big test for Moses Atama there. Agit Kabayel is a sort of fighter that has got that durability that I don't think many fighters will have against Moses Atama. And I think he'll be able to take the punishment and could take Moses Atama finally past, the fifth and sixth round and, potentially test him. But I feel like that's definitely a fight I want to see in 2026.
I think they'll both test each other's defense in a way that we haven't had a chance to see. They're both very just like attack, and their attack is so good that they almost don't need to defend.
The body as well.
It would be... I don't know if I'd want to see the fight for Moses Atama necessarily. But then he's got to step up at some point. I just really rate Agit Kabayel. Agit Kabayel's I'd put on a list if we'd given this as an award as a fighter I really want to win a world title in 2026. I wanted him to win one this year and he hasn't been able to. But it is a good shout.
That is two good shouts. I would make an early prediction for 2026 that this is going to be the third year we've done this podcast. Would be third year.
Right, yeah. Only 24, 25.
I think this year is going to be the best in terms of the fights we get over the 12 months. I think we've already got a couple that look near enough lined up, but hopefully they add to the list. But in terms of the fight I want to see in 2026, not going for the obvious ones, I've also got David Benavidez, where I've got him coming up against Callum Smith.
Ooh.
I think those two, because I think with Bivol, I think that would be a good fight, but I still think they're holding out for that trilogy with Beterbiev if they can make it happen. So I think the logical next step for Benavidez would be him and Callum Smith. I think them two there for 12 rounds would be an absolute brilliant watch, and I think it'd be one of the best fights we could get in 2026.
Yeah, what I like about what we've done, that we've all gone for a fight that's not even close to being rumoured necessarily.
No. Yeah, I didn't want to go for one.
The obvious one is Joshua Fury. That's the one that everyone, we all want to see.
Do we actually see it this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
definitely got it. If we don't see it in 2026, we'll never see it, I think.
I'm pretty confident we see it, but I like that we've all gone slightly different on that one. I'm trying to think of... I think a Callum Smith fight's a great fight for Benavidez. I think Callum Smith-Benavidez is a better fight for both fighters, for sure. But I'm just really intrigued to see what a Benavidez-Bivol fight would look like, which is why I went for Bivol. It's a fight I suppose I've actually kind of broken the prompt there because I don't think we see that fight at all.
Mm.
So maybe it's not a fight that I'll be unhappy if 2026 ends and we don't see, because I don't think we see it. But I do think it would be, and it's an interesting one. But we have some great fights lined up. You know, I think last year, I could be wrong, but I think last year my fight to see in 2025 was a rematch between Lee Wood and Josh Warrington, and we're getting it in 2026.
And we're getting it quite early as well, aren't we?
Early on,
Yeah.
I think I might be rewriting history there.
I'd have to go back.
But it
and
feels like something I would say. So
probably.
Right, that's what we
I'll
should
go
have
with
done.
that.
I should have gone back to our predictions for 2025 and
because then we'd have
seen-
found the real worst take of 2020.
Yeah.
Not that I'm bitter that I lost that. But yeah, no, there's some good fights there. I agree with you, actually. I think we're going to see, I think this will be a better year than 2025. I think it will be a great year. I don't know if we'll get as many sort of undisputed title fights as we sort of did in 2024 and stuff, but I do think we'll get some great fights for boxing fans. I mean, already Shakur Teofimo Lopez early on in the year.
And the card looks incredible as well.
It's a cracker.
Yeah.
if you just look at some of the rumoured ones already, obviously that at the end of January, which is a really good fight in itself, but Nakatani and Uwe, which I think is rumoured for May, AJ Fury to end the year. Like, if we get those caliber of fights throughout 2026, I think it's going to be hard to be beaten.
I'm not gonna do the normally we kind of mix it up a bit so people get, but I'm gonna go straight into my fighter of the year, because my fighter in the year ties into a fight I really want to see, and I think we will see, and I think he'll win, and I think he'll go on to be mightily impressive. So the fighter I expect to be the fighter of the year in 2026 is Jaron Boots Ennis. I expect in the spring we'll get a Virgil Ortiz fight, which I think he'll win, make him a champion then at super welterweight as now. Now he's jumped up and had an impressive first performance against Lima. I think Virgil Ortiz, Jaron Boots Ennis is a brilliant fight, so intriguing. And I think if Boots, which I see him doing, gets the better of that fight, then wow, he's something special. And then I think you only really need one or two more half decent opponents against fights against decent opponents to get fighter of the year. So I really see him picking up quite a few titles because he hasn't got a huge amount of time left. So I think he will just roll the dice, and I expect him to have a good year.
This is a difficult one to choose because it does massively come down to who they can get as potential opponents and what fights come up, because there's plenty of options there, but you could have fighters who you think are going to have a busy year and only have one fight. But, well, similar to my must-see fight of the year, my fighter of the year that I'm going to guess as the best 2026 is David Benavidez. Obviously, depending on if they can get him the big fights, because there's not many people out there that want to get in the ring with him. But I think if he gets a Callum Smith fight or Bivol fight, I think he could end 2026 and people will be looking at him thinking, yeah, he's the most dominant fighter we've got in boxing at the moment.
Do you see him beating Zerda Ramirez then? That's going to be happening in May. Do you see that fight? And then that already makes him what, a 4-weight world champion? And then jumping back down and picking up more back at your weight, unbelievable. That's genuinely impressive.
Yeah, I think he does. I think it'd be close, but I think he does. And I think, yeah, jumping up weight and winning again, I think that's what will make him stand apart from other fighters in 2026.
I agree. If he beats Zerda Ramirez, he is a very, very strong candidate.
And then
for
you're saying,
Gauntlet.
so that's in May, and then at the end of the year potentially fights Bivol.
or
You can't
Callum
do that.
Smith or anyone. I mean, at that point, yeah, to be a 4-weight world champion and then go back down to your division and start to clean up. Yeah, that's I rate that.
Well, my fighter of the year I expect to be in 2026, and I feel like he probably will only fight the one time next year, or this year, sorry, Naya Inoue. I feel like, especially watching their fight only a couple of days ago over in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, not even a week it hasn't been, just the class between both fighters, I think was shown there, the daylight between them as well. I feel like Inoue will comfortably this could be a bold prediction and this could come back and bite me, but I feel like Inoue will comfortably beat Nakatani by a wide points decision, especially if that Nakatani that turned up against Hernandez could potentially stop him. But I feel like if he gets through that fight, potentially then moves up and becomes another world champion at another weight, I feel like 2026 could belong to Inoue, and it could be a fighter that you can make the argument that could have back-to-back years of being the fighter of the year, because he was so good in 2024, 2025. He was so active, so dominant in that super bantamweight division, and that performance against Picasso just, finished off what was a remarkable year for him. And now both of them had got through their fights. Just give me that fight. And you talk about exciting fights, that's definitely an exciting matchup.
Yeah, no, I'd struggle to disagree that I think Inouye's the obvious shout, because I think he will. And I don't, like you say, I don't think he'll be as active as he was this year. I can't see him do 4 fights again, maybe 3. Probably 2. But even then, I think, like you say, beating Junta Nakatani, another pound for pound top fighter. And then anything else in that year, similar like we said with Benavidez, it's hard to certainly not put him in the conversation. So it's some good shouts there. What about what did you go for again?
Benavidez.
Yeah, there's some great shouts there. There's some great fights. I wouldn't mind that.
Three. So we've had 2 fights of the years now. Fight of the year we want to see, great shouts, and obviously fighter of the year.
Go us. I think we're doing quite well.
Okay.
Future world champion. This is somebody who's not in line for a world title fight. There's no world title fights rumored. They haven't held a world title previously, etc. Who we just think is going to have a good year and break in onto the world scene and win a world title. I'll start with you, Ben.
I feel like I'm cheating slightly with this. He isn't interim. They haven't got nothing signed at the moment, but he had one of the best ends to 2025, I think, out of any professional fighter. And I think it's just going to fall in line for him to have a world title shot in 2026. And I think he'll win it. And that is Conor Walker.
It's a great shout. I'd love it if he did.
I'd absolutely love to see him pick up a world title in 2026. And the way the cards are falling into place at the moment, I can see Jack Catterall getting the fight with Devin Haney, which leaves Lewis Crocker open. And I think they do Crocker, Walker, and I think Walker gets the win and gets his world title.
Close the first time.
It was very close, but this almost feels like a different version of Conor Walker now. He's almost leveled up to a point, and he's just looked so impressive. He's just got the never say die attitude, and when it comes to those 12-round world title fights, there's not many worse people to be in with than someone of the mindset of Conor Walker, of once he gets on top of it, he's not letting you go. And I just think he'll take the full opportunity of, it could be his only crack at a world title, and I don't think he'll let it slip through his grasp. So I think he'll pick up a world title in 2026.
It's the belief, isn't it? Is the difference now. He believes in his tank. He believes in his chin. He believes in the power behind his shots. We saw that those 3 things come together. It's like he's willing to let his hands go because he knows he can outwork you and he knows he can take your best. And that's a scary place to be.
And he's no longer that sort of fighter that you just expect him to turn up and you know what to get with him. You now expect him to turn up and win.
Yeah.
Because we're against Pat McCormack. I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, hang on a minute, is this a little bit too soon for Pat McCormack? And it proved on the night in Monte Carlo that it was. But who I think potentially could pick up a world title in 2026 is the Piranha from Southampton, Ryan Garner. He's had an incredible year. Great performance against Reece Bellotti last time out in Bournemouth. Hopefully, you talk about stadium fights as well. Hopefully he gets a stadium fight or something like that in Southampton, in his hometown. It's a stacked division. I think that super featherweight division, there's a lot of great fighters there. Kakashi, Foster, Navarrete, Nunes, Raymond Ford. So there's so many great fights there. But I feel like he's got he'll fight early. He'll fight in April this year. And then the back end of it, I think he will challenge for a world title. And that could be possibly flying over to the States and doing it, but time will tell.
Yeah, it's it's interesting. We've all gone for the sort of same realm, and I've gone for somebody I expected to have a really good 2025, but didn't. But I think they'll pick up where they left off. It's a man who got one, in some people's eyes, surprise wins. Aaron McKenna. Only fought the once in 2025 against Liam Smith, of course. But I just think he's so good, and I think more importantly, he gives absolutely any of the champions at his weight class a serious day. You know, Janabek, I think, would be the toughest of them. Erislandi Lara, I think he beats, and I think Carlos Adames,
100% he beats Adames.
would be a really tough fight for him. Do I think he necessarily gets those opportunities? I don't know. I think that is the biggest hinge is on whether or not he gets the opportunities. But off the back of a Liam Smith win, I think a one fight early on, and then if he gets the likes of Lima or Adames in particular, I think he wins those fights. And so I think he becomes a world champion. Janabek would be a tougher fight. But I see him being a problem for anyone.
Some good shots. We could all end up as world champions, isn't it?
You need to that line that we come back to this as we preview 2027 and we look back and we go, wow, look at us. We know nothing about boxing.
It's true, yeah.
We could
more
be like that, yeah.
But also, you didn't go for a Toma. Do you not think
He's in Jeremoni.
For which one? WBA?
Yeah.
Really? No, I thought it was Kubrat Pulev. Or Gassiev now, isn't it?
I thought, for some reason, I thought he'd been.
So did you think he wins a world title in 2026?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Usyk gives up the belt.
And he picks it up against
Can we get on to that then if we're talking about Usyk?
We've got one more to do, and then we'll get on to our what I think you're hinting at. And the first one we've got to do, which is definitely not Usyk, is our prospect of the year. Now, we've gone real prospect for this one. Real prospect. Less than 3-0 going into the year, which means you're kind of looking at 6-7-0 by the end of the year. So outside the realms of prospect of the year, come into 2026, but this is someone to watch out for.
Yeah.
I know who you've gone for, Harry, so I'm going to kick off with you.
Well, I'm going to go with Leo Atang. I feel like I've watched him make his debut up in Manchester against a Bulgarian fella that we've seen down at the Vale.
Paunov, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Milan Paunov?
Yeah, something like that. Back first round stoppages. It looked very impressive in Nigeria last time out. Obviously,
Ghana. Was it Ghana?
Ghana, yeah, sorry, not Nigeria. That was the following day. Yeah. Obviously, against lesser opponents that you expect him to get through quite easily. I feel like 2025 is going to be the year where he keeps on learning, keeps on developing his skills at heavyweight and, you know, swaps over that style. I just like everything about him. I think his character, I think he speaks very well. I'm not going to refer to him as the next Anthony Joshua because I think no one can replicate what Anthony Joshua has done for the sport in British boxing.
He's also not won an Olympic gold medal.
Exactly. So when you hear commentators talk about that, it's a bit like, oh, come on, guys, like let the kid develop. And I feel like this year could be, you know, like you said, get to 6, 7, 8-0, potentially 10-0 for a heavyweight that gets through his opponent so quickly. See a bit of the world. You know, we talked about Vizioli going over to America, how much that benefited his career, and he's gone on and won the English title. And, you know, I can't even believe we didn't even talk about that fight against Joe Howarth, how
great fight,
back and forth. And I think Vizioli that night showed a lot. But going back to Atang, I feel like he is definitely someone you want to keep an eye on, especially in a heavyweight division domestically in Britain that is... The era is changing it because I feel like there's going to be a lot of retirements in 2026, and I think the new boys are going to be coming through, and hopefully I am right in saying that Atang is going to be someone that you want to get excited for as 2026 goes on.
I think as well with the title of prospect to watch, he's great to watch.
And
knockouts, excitement on Matchroom shows, obviously. So yeah, I think that's a great shout. He was somebody I had. Because I didn't think you would go for him, but actually I'm happy with my replacement. But yeah, a great shout. My replacement, and the reason I think you will have gone for this is because it's somebody that appeared recently in the Boxing News magazine. Tomoya Tsuboi is a Japanese super flyweight. He's 3-0 as we talk, And in his last fight, he beat somebody who got a 115-113 loss against Juan Estrada.
Yeah.
Took 3 rounds off Bam Rodriguez. And this was his 3rd fight. It's put him in line for a world title fight in 2026. He's an amateur gold medalist, missed out on the Olympics, but he turned over, won got a stoppage, won the WBO Asia Pacific title in his 2nd fight, and then the WBO Global in his 3rd fight. And he's looking for world champs. He's looking for world titles at about 4, 5, and he's 28, so he's got to move fairly quick. He took a while in the amateurs, but just to beat Juan Cuadras was the fight, a Mexican fight. He's like 44-8 or something, and like I said, yeah, he got stopped by Juan Estrada in 1 fight, lost 115-113 in a 2nd fight with him, took rounds off Bam and went the distance with Bam, which not many people can say, and he knocked him out in the 8th round in his 3rd fight as a pro. He's just...
That's a hard one to beat.
Statistically phenomenal, but trust me, go and watch him. He's a really short fighter. I think he's 5'2", 5'3", but he just manages the distance so well despite being so tall. He's got he's really busy with the lead hand, cracking 1-2. Yeah, he's great to watch.
That's a very good shout.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
The prospect I've gone for is 2-0 at the moment. Signed to Inline Boxing, which is the promotional company of Johnny Clark, obviously of top tier. It's Thiago Muxanga.
Ooh.
So he's a Mozambique fighter. He's 2-0 as a professional, like I said, won both his first fights by knockout. I watched him up in York Hall recently. He is built like an absolute animal and can really punch. He's got a silver Commonwealth super welterweight title for he's headlining top tier show in February.
What, and he's 2-0 and he's headlining the show already.
Yeah, 2-0. And the thing I really like, not sure if many people would know, but he's also trains in Plymouth with Konstantin Ursu in the same gym with Marley Dan, who is their coach. And
What weight class is he?
super welterweight.
Okay.
And Marley Dan, for anyone who doesn't know him, I think brilliant coach. Sat with him actually in the hotel before one of Ursu's fights, and he brought up the notes on his phone, and basically before the fight that even happened, talked me through round by round of what was going to happen and what they had planned for, and it went exactly to script. And Ursu, as we know, is very good and I think he's looking close enough to a potential British title fight, I think, at the moment. But yeah, they've got a very good little duo there down in the gym in Plymouth, and I think he'll have a very good 2026 and one to keep an eye on, especially on the top tier shows on the zone.
I think it's 3 good shouts.
Very good.
Look at us. We know glove.
Yeah.
We know glove. We've done all right there. Now this is the point where I think we show whether or not we know glove or not. This is unfortunately, we're going to go a little bit on a downer note on this one. Our biggest losers of 2026, someone that we see just not having the best year. Maybe they lose a world title, maybe they lose a couple fights, maybe they retire, whatever it may be. Harry, who have you gone for this one?
Well, I've got 2. I feel like
I'll do the first one.
I feel like Alexander Usyk will lose all of his world titles this year, because I feel like pound for pound, the greatest heavyweight fighter of my generation, probably your generation, probably all of our generations, to be honest, if we're honestly speaking, depending on your age, obviously, watching this podcast. I feel like Alexander Usyk will retire at the end of 2026. I want to say that he'll fight Wilder, and then I would love nothing more than he fights in Wrocław, where he fought against Daniel Dubois, obviously very close to the Ukrainian border, and as a sort of final goodbye, bows out in a fight. And it's a bit harsh to call him the biggest loser of 2025, but when you look at all the world titles that he's going to lose, you could potentially make that argument. I feel like he'll go off into the sunset a little bit like what Terence Crawford has done. But if I'm going to go in on a fighter, I feel like Adam Azim could have a poor 2026.
Wow.
Especially with the fight he's got coming up against Lemos. I think Lemos can ask a lot of questions of Adam Azim in that fight.
I think as Daniel Lemos will, I agree, he will ask questions, but I think Adam Azim will have the answers to those questions. I think.
Do you think as well, because obviously Dalton Smith's fighting next week over in the States against Subriel Matias, do you think, you talk about fights we want to see in 2026, do you think we finally see Dalton Smith against Adam Azim?
I think if they both pick up wins in those fights, that's the next fight for them.
But I don't think that is an if. That's a strong if.
It's a big if for both of them as well. I want to say that, because it's not a give me going over to the States against Matias, and it certainly ain't one for Azim as well.
I think Azim will get through Lemos. I know Lemos is a quality fighter, and he's caused. Was it Richardson Hitchens he caused problems to? And it was Keyshawn Davis that emphatically beat him, or the other way around. I can't remember which one it was.
He beat our Lee Selby.
He beat Lee Selby down in Argentina. Former IBF champion, obviously. But I don't know. I really rate Azim. And I just think
Azim wins quite comfortably.
I think he's too good for that. But I do think that Lemos will ask questions of him, which I look forward to. What have you gone for this one, though?
My biggest loser of 2026. People are going to think I've got some sort of agenda against him, but I am a fan, but I think the biggest loser of 2026 is going to be Tyson Fury.
Wow, kicks out a retired man while he's down.
They say he's retired.
He's not even active.
I think he's going to have an active 2026. I think he'll have a nice little warm-up fight now, early 2026, but I think the biggest fight that we're going to see in 2026 will finally be the All-British grudge match to decide who ultimately is the best between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and I think Tyson Fury's going to come off second best, so I think he'll end his 2026 as the biggest loser.
I think it's a fair shout, because first of all, Fury never looks good in sort of warm-up fights that don't mean everything. I don't know if it's mentally or physically, he doesn't get himself ready for those fights. Obviously, we're talking the likes of Ngannou and stuff, he just doesn't always look the best. And I think when the chips are all down against Joshua, I think it's anyone's fight. And so if you are going to side with Anthony Joshua, then yeah, he has to be the biggest loser of 2026. If that was his career, come out of retirement for a mega fight and lose it, it's not great.
Do you know what could be funny? You talk about warm-up fights. Both of them don't get through their warm-up fights.
It wouldn't be funny. It would be upsetting.
We don't need that. We need just them two to...
Yeah, let's not do the warm-up fight.
I say it would be a massive... I think they both...
Yeah. If we done 4-rounder, just in case as well.
If we don't see them two face off by the end of 2026, I'd have them both down as the biggest losers of 2026, because...
I'd give us the biggest losers to boxing fans.
It'd be such a waste if they don't end there. It's the perfect way to end your career. I'd give full credit to both men for getting in there and doing it. I do edge with Joshua. I do think he'd get the job done, but I think it'd be a good fight to watch. And I think it's what's needed for the end of both their careers to see it finally happen.
And both will retire as well in 2026.
Yeah.
Even if they don't fight each other, they both retire this year.
I tend to agree. For my loser, it's a man who's had a great 2025, and based off of that, I think he's going to have a difficult 2026, and it's because I just don't see him picking up a win against many of the people around him. It's Fabio Wardley, unfortunately. Oh, it hurts me to say it because I love him, but I'm looking at the fights, the kind of fights that he could get given. I think particularly with the confidence he's got, he could beat anyone, but I also think it could maybe be his undoing slightly. Is heavyweight boxing, and you only need to get caught once, and I think he might get caught in his next fight and lose it, and then once that confidence is shattered, it can be difficult to, particularly in the way he fights, to go again. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying I think he'll lose his world title, unfortunately, next year. But I don't know who against.
Could he be the man to beat Usyk, though?
We've thrown everyone over us that.
No,
we had everyone else. We had that with Dubois last year.
Absolutely not. Unless he goes in there with a sledge.
He only needs that one punch. Punches chat.
Don't think he finds it. No, I think
I don't think he gets the opportunity to either as well.
that as well. Yeah, no, I don't know. I can't. I was racking my brain at who in the heavyweight division they could give him for a world title that he beats.
Murat Gassiev, FAA Jagba, they'll look at
Don't think they give either of those to the WBO. The WBO don't rate either of them.
Martin Piccoli.
WBO don't rate him.
Okay.
Who is next in line?
I don't know.
Is it a rematch with Parker? Or is he
Probably would be.
allowed?
I think a rematch with Parker would probably be. And I just think, I don't know. Lightning doesn't strike twice. I think it would be a difficult night regardless. I hope I'm wrong, but I just have a feeling. I don't know why. I have a gut feeling that he's gonna pick up a loss.
I do think we end 2026 with 2 British fighters who are heavyweight champions.
Oh, okay. And you're going for a Toma and Joshua, presumably.
I am.
I like it. I'm not mad at it.
So you reckon that Joshua's going to win?
I think.
Fight for a vacant.
I think Toma will get. I think Usyk will ultimately end up
Yeah.
retiring, giving all the belts away. I think Toma will fight for one, and then I think they'll use one of the vacant belts to grow Fury Joshua even more. And make
all over that.
and make it a world title fight between the two of them. One last crack for both of them to become a world champion against each other. That builds it to the biggest fight of 2026, and I think Joshua will end 2026
Now
world
that
champion.
makes that fight entertaining for the whole world.
It does.
If it is a world title, and
That's how I'd do it if I was looking at it.
Yeah.
If I was trying to promote it and make it as big as possible.
It's a great shout. I love it. I really love it. Now we have to do our pound for pound top 5 as we go into the year. This is the definitive
This
ranking.
was actually quite difficult.
It was quite difficult. I think it's not as dead set as it
So
was.
there's a few
I
that
think after the Night of the Samurai, mine was pretty straightforward to do.
I think now that Crawford's retired, it's slightly harder, personally. I gave myself a top 10 to work within, but I've given myself a top 5, but obviously I have given myself a 10 just as a little exercise. I wanted to see who I put in there. I'm going to say, presumably, am I comfortable in saying Naya Nue is everyone's number 1?
Correct.
Is not.
No,
Alexander Usyk is my number 1.
Wow.
he's my number 2.
And presumably that's just legacy off the
He's
fights
just a
he's
man.
won.
No one beats him.
Yeah, fair. Do you think...
And the fact that he goes up, he shouldn't really be fighting as a heavyweight.
No, I know.
Like he cleared out the cruiserweight, cleared out heavyweight.
I knew he was a flyweight, mind. He's gone a long way up.
No, I'm not. Like we're talking about the best of the best here, so it's like take your pick. But
And presumably for us two, Usyk's number 2,
Correct.
and you've got Naya Nue number
I've
2.
gone away.
Yeah.
So
I mean, neither's wrong. Neither is wrong. There is wrong answers to this, and neither of those are wrong.
No.
I think it's the activity, fighter of the year,
That's what I'm going for.
the dominance within his weight class, the fact he is still an undisputed champion, is why I've gone with Inoue over Usyk, who obviously lost the WBO.
So we got that one.
to be fair though, Usyk is only not an undisputed champion because he decided to give up a belt. But no one's taking them off him either.
Yeah, that's why I put him as number 2.
Could you argue that he should be taking that fight? Why did he, you could say, I'm not saying
He didn't just. We saw all the videos.
exactly.
We saw him dancing.
He didn't want to fight, and I don't blame him. But you could argue that maybe he should be as the world champion if you're going to put him as the pound for pound number 1, beating anyone who steps up to him, possibly. Which is partly why I've put him down.
So-
Now, number 3 will be interesting.
Usyk, Inoue, Usyk,
Inoue,
Usyk. Okay.
Number 3.
Dmitry Bivol.
I've
Number
got
3.
Dmitry Bivol 3 as well.
I feel like with Crawford gone, everyone's just
Yeah,
gone up.
Crawford would be 3.
Yeah, everyone's gone up a position.
I think Dmitry Bivol, having beaten Beterbiev, I think twice.
Yeah.
Puts him at number 3, but
Mhm.
statistically, he did not beat. On paper, he did not beat Beterbiev twice. That is not on the record book. So, because he has picked up a loss against somebody in his weight class, I've gone for Jesse Bam Rodriguez at number 3 because I don't think anyone beats Bam in his weight class. And the record shows, unfortunately, that somebody can beat Bivol in his weight class, albeit Beterbiev is unbelievable. And I do believe Bivol won that fight. I think based off of that, I have to go Bam number 3.
I've got Bam Rodriguez at 5.
Wow.
I've got Bam at 4.
Yeah.
So I've just
You've got Bivol.
Bivol 3, Bam 4.
And I've got Bam 3, Bivol 4.
Who have you both got as your 5?
So at last weekend, I had Nakatani in my top 5 pound for pound stars. But after that performance against Hernandez, I've removed him and I've politely put in his place David Benavidez.
I got David Benavidez 4.
I have not.
You haven't got Benavidez top 5?
No. I have put in Shakur Stevenson.
Fair.
I think
The fighter that you love watching the most.
I don't like watching Shakur Stevenson fight, but he's so good. Multiple weight world champion. I don't even remember the last time, if ever, someone caused him a problem at any point of any fight. Then taking the fight against Teofimo Lopez, which I still see him beating. I just think he's so good. And I absolutely, there's a shout for David Benavidez, but I think when you look at David Benavidez, you're talking David Morrell, Anthony Yard. It's not.
Yeah, but he's also asking for fights and or people don't want to step up.
But you can't, I can't base my ranking on feeling.
Yeah.
I've gone statistical with it.
To be fair, Shakur Stevenson would be my number 6.
I think Shakur Stevenson is a top, and David Benavidez is my 6. So I think
Who's your 5th?
Jesse Bam Rodriguez.
I feel like we've all gone for all the similar fighters. Normally, one of us has gone for one, quite left field. Or something.
We've got the same top 6, just in different orders.
out of interest, my 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know you boys haven't done that. My 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is Benavidez, Haney, Beterbiev, Nakatani, Canelo.
I would put Canelo higher.
For legacy.
Yeah.
Legacy rankings. Yeah, I suppose so. I think you have to, but I think he's proven, unfortunately, that he lost to Bivol when he stepped up, lost to Crawford when Crawford stepped up, lost to Mayweather. He's lost to the top guys, and albeit he's been one of the very, very top guys in every one of those eras, which is immensely impressive. I struggle to give it to him still there hasn't been a big win where you go, that one.
Yeah, true.
Munguia lost to Saras. Belanga lost to Shiraz. There's not been, Williams Skull wasn't a great performance.
The less said about that weekend of boxing, the better.
Canelo hasn't given me enough in a while to hold on to the top rankings. But I think he still sneaks in. Nakatani, again, bad performance, but he did win the fight just about on the scorecard. So again, I have to keep him in there, even though I don't think he necessarily deserved to win that fight. Beterbiev goes in there because he did beat Bivol in the first fight statistically, who is a pound for pound great. So he stays in the picture.
Happy days.
So let's recap. Go through your 5 again in order.
My 5 pound for pound fighters of going into 2026. So I've got number 1, Alexander Usyk. Number 2, Naya Inoue. Number 3, Dmitry Bivol. Number 4, David Benavidez. And number 5, Jesse Bam Rodriguez.
Inoue, Usyk, Bivol, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, and David Benavidez.
And my 2026 pound for pound top 5, Alexander Usyk. Number 2, I've gone wrong there. Naya Inoue, Alexander Usyk, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Dmitry Bivol, Shakur Stevenson.
Oof. It's a
There's
strong
some good
list.
fighters in there, but I do agree with you. And I think this evidences it. I think this time last year, we'd have almost got an identical 5. And this is more variation.
Pretty sure we did last year.
I think we all had Usyk as number 1 at some point.
I think we all went Usyk,
Yeah.
Inoue, Crawford,
Yeah.
And then it would have changed.
Bivol. And you'd have gone Beterbiev, Bivol, I think, probably.
If Crawford was still there, where would you go now?
Crawford would be number 2.
Yes. Yeah.
and knock Usyk down for me.
I'd have Crawford too, but I'd knock him away down.
Yeah. Inoue number 3 is crazy.
Crawford and Usyk though.
I cannot agree with Inoue being number 3. That is disrespectful.
Where do we put Fury in this argument? Oh, is he still top 20 pound?
Well, I don't think Huey Fury's anywhere near the pound for pound top.
What a year he's going to have. Huey Fury. He's going to be the year.
You're a young prospect, Huey Fury. You know, he's got a future.
He's restarted his career, so good luck to him.
Yeah. Do we think it's going to be a good... You think it's going to be a great year, 2026?
I think it's got the potential to be the best year we've had.
I love that we've already... January is often so weak, and we've already got a really good January announced. We've got boxers fighting early. You've got that Subaru Matthias Dalton Smith. We've got Teofimo Shakur coming up. Leewood, Josh Warrington, Ball Figueroa.
Ajit Kabayel over in Germany, homecoming. And even this weekend, you got Amanda Serrano.
It does feel like a year where you'll see the end of a lot of careers as well. I think that's why it'll be so big. Like Katie Taylor, I think, could possibly be her last year. Amanda Serrano, Fury, Joshua, Usyk. Like the fighters we've like grown up watching over the last decade. Almost feels like it's time for many of them to pass the torch, and it's a worrying time, I think, because it's difficult to see, like, even though there will be fighters that are coming through, it's hard to look and think, who are the next in line that are going to be carrying the sport for the next decade. Like, you don't exactly know compared to what we've been treated to over the last few years. But yeah, I think 2026 is going to be a big year.
Yeah.
Hopefully a big year for the podcast as well.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah, we know. Big year, we will be graduating from university. So, maybe we'll have more, maybe we'll have less time to do the podcast. Maybe you'll see us in the living room more often. Who knows?
Hopefully we get some shows in Cardiff as well.
Yeah, but I think...
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good year. I think there's some great boxing to talk about. I think we've got some good plans coming up, things in line. Do we maybe do another magazine at some point? Would be nice after we graduate.
It did go quite well, didn't it? So
yeah, it was good. I think we can go bigger. I think we can go better always.
What a year as well. I know we're previewing, but just looking back on Welsh boxing as well quickly.
Yeah.
Last year, great year for Welsh boxing.
Really good.
Some noticeable wins for some fighters, and so many fighters getting more opportunities. We saw Harris Khan get that GBM opportunity on the zone. Ben Crocker as well. Gavin Gwynn, Willie Gilhaney as well. He's going for his 3rd title in his 3rd fight. He's definitely something to keep your eye out for.
Cordina, Zilla Mason. That's a fight to look forward to in 2026.
I can't believe you didn't put that.
I know, but that seems like it's
going to happen.
Yeah. It's like
in Cardiff as
just
well.
where I signed the contract.
He's been around all the stadiums, Joe Cordina, since he's been back from Stockton, California. He's over at the Arms Park.
You following it, were you?
No, I just go to the Arms Park, don't I?
The Arms Park would be nice. Obviously, Nassim Steve Robinson fought there, so there's been some good fight nights there.
The old Arms Park, mind. That was probably when
Yeah, but
I can't still the Arms Park. Can't remember. It might have been. It might have been the new one. I don't know. But I'll have to look.
There's some good opportunities there. We'll have to wait and see. But unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye for the first time of 2026. This will be coming out on the 1st of January.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully you haven't got too much of a headache going into this podcast. If you haven't before, then you obviously will after listening to us for, half an hour or so. But thank you for everyone who has and does regularly. We appreciate all the support. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
Punches chance. Punches Chance Podcast.